Hey, buddy.
Hi, guys. Well, from blustery Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we're going to be talking about sort of religion in schools and religious classes taught immediately adjacent to schools. And
Ways of getting apparently, you're not supposed to teach God in public school.
Right.
But don't worry, kids. There's ways around it.
Oh, so many clever little ways.
Yeah.
And anyway, that'll be coming up on the second half of the show.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Dan,
You?
I have the story. Sad story.
Oh, no.
I hate to start the show off
Oh, you guys.
with such a sad story.
Just turn the show
I mean-
off. You don't need this.
It is sad because someone has passed away.
Okay.
So I don't want to make too much fun of, or too light of a time with
Dude,
that.
that's so funny because literally everybody passes away.
Eventually.
So I feel like we can make some light of it.
Okay, well, with that in mind, a former star of Touched by an Angel,
Oh, dear.
Della Reese,
Oh, Della.
has passed away.
Oh, Della.
I don't know if you guys watched Touched by an Angel, but Roma Downey, her good friend, tweeted, "Heaven has a brand new angel
Of course she
today."
did. She's been saving that one, waiting for that heart attack to
Sitting-
happen. I know exactly what I'm going to tweet. Second Della goes.
Touched by an Angel, the show of what was it? Heavenly intercession.
Yeah.
Right? Like people would be praying, they'd have their crisis of faith, or they'd have their problem with drugs.
Right,
and,
right. Somebody they're the bad guys in
Right.
the town.
And you had these angels who were like in the mix, but people didn't know they were angels. And then all of a sudden, blammo, the angel light would
Right.
turn on over their head, right? And they'd be like, Jonathan, you are a child of God.
It was basically Quantum
Get
Leap,
off
only with
drugs.
Jesus.
It wasn't Quantum.
It was
Quantum Leap was so much better.
Well, it didn't go through
Miles
different
and
parts of
miles
history. Here's the thing. Our listeners may not know that Touched by an Angel holds significance, particular significance for those of us here in the fine state of Utah, because
Right.
this is where it was shot.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm convinced that I am the only actor in Utah who was never cast on Touched by an Angel. And I think that happened because the first time I auditioned for it, I was auditioning for the role of a skinhead. And I was
Yeah.
getting myself really into it. I was
Yeah.
like working myself. Like, it was an angry scene. I was
Yeah.
threatening someone's life. And just sort of in the moment, I dropped an F-bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't like that fuck word very much.
No,
So
not over at Touched by an Angel.
I got in trouble.
Yeah. I had a friend who actually worked on camera crew
Oh, sure.
from time to time at Touched by an Angel. And he just called the show Touched by a Paycheck.
Yes, indeed.
Because
The
that
touched
was really...
the touched by a blank jokes
Yeah.
were frequent.
It was remarkable because it was regular work for the film people in town.
Yeah.
And that show ran for a long time.
Yes, indeed.
Took the Murder, She Wrote time slot, right?
Did it? Oh, okay.
It was something like that. Anyway, you may not know a lot about Della Reese. She was also a minister,
Ooh.
concurrent to being a star
Right.
of the small screen. She was also leading a congregation in L.A. Called Understanding Principles for Better Living.
That is a bad name for a church.
Yeah, it was kind of
Della, you need to tighten it. You need to make it catchy.
it was Bible based.
Well, one would hope so.
But also was focused on like metaphysics and positivity and lardy-dardy-dardy-dar.
Yeah, well, it was Los Angeles after all. If you don't have some
should quite the following, I
positive
guess.
metaphysical aspect to it, you can't even start a coffee shop.
People loved her. She also accurately predicted how many seasons the show would run for.
Oh.
So it was a little bit of a prophetess mixed in there.
Which was how many?
I can't remember.
I mean, as the star and probably executive producer of the show, she probably could have just said it, you know, if you keep it low enough, you can just say, oh, we're stopping now because of my prediction.
Yeah. She had a long career in television. Back in the 70s, she played a landlady on Chico and the Man.
It's a great role.
She was the wife of a mailman portrayed by Red Fox in the 1990 series The Royal Family.
The good Red Fox show. Everybody watched that one.
But you know, she really credited herself with bringing God into primetime television. She was proud of the fact that
I feel like Michael Landon had her beat.
Yeah, but her show demonstrated that, this was according to her, that greed, drugs, and technology were not the solutions to life.
Because so many people are proponents of that theory.
Drugs, greed, and technology. That's what I promote in my life.
Those are the solutions to all of life.
So far, it's not going too bad, Dan.
I'm like, you know, the technology's not working right now. I'm turning to greed. That'll be my next. If not that, drugs will certainly help.
Indeed.
All right. Well, on a more serious note than
someone's death,
because everybody dies. That's boring. Well, I've got more death, but not of people, rather of institutions.
Okay.
Apparently, there is a large number of small religious colleges in these United States.
Okay.
And they are dying.
No.
They're not doing so hot.
What do they need? They need some TLC.
I feel like they need to just die is what they need. Several institutions, including St. Gregory's University out in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Shawnee, yeah.
550 students at St. Gregory's, a little Catholic liberal arts college, so they say.
Huh.
But apparently they're not doing so well. They're not attracting the students, and the ways that they can attract the students aren't great for them. Like, they'll give tuition discounts and stuff. And then eventually, you know.
You drain the coffers.
You don't have any monies.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of, you'd think that there would be a lot of, like, donation capital out there for religious institutions, because people love to give to religions. But no, indeed, Grace University in Omaha is dying. Marygrove College in Detroit going away. Catholic-affiliated St. Joseph's College in Indiana. Lots of small religious colleges struggling.
Well, two problems probably that I see.
Okay.
They probably have a lack of wealthy alumni. Right?
Maybe, yeah.
There's a good chance. And also football.
Well,
they need some college sports.
Notre Dame's in no danger.
Right, exactly.
There you go. But also, like, it's not like Liberty University's going anywhere or
right. Do they have a football team?
Or Oral Roberts, and I don't think they do football.
Oral Roberts has basketball, I know.
Do they?
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
I can remember that because I remember the Maybe Center at Oral Roberts University. It's a basketball court. So I think they have a basketball team. I would hope, after building that thing.
Do you guys have a place to play basketball? Maybe. See what I did there? Roughly 1/3 of the small private colleges rated by Moody's investors are generating operating deficits in 2016.
Oh, no.
That's up from 20% in 2013.
Oh.
So they're not doing so well.
No.
These small private institutions.
Bye-bye, I guess.
Yeah, I'm willing to let them go. I think the other problem, and this article doesn't touch on this, but the youngsters aren't really that into religion these days.
Right.
They're more and more joining our team.
Yeah.
We should start a football
Which
team.
is what, the Lumberjacks? What's
Oh, Frank is referencing my outfit today, which only our YouTube viewers will know about.
Exactly.
Well, so there you go.
So what team is that, Dan?
It's the the raging log rollers.
Whatever.
Go rollers.
Well, since you're talking about schools, religious schools,
Yeah.
I've got a story about a Catholic school. This isn't like a college or anything. I think it's a little, what is it, elementary, middle school, high school, something along those lines.
Okay.
Catholic school.
Yeah.
There's children around. That's the main point. They needed a. This is down in Australia. It's the St. Martin de Porres at Blackfriars Priory School. Priory School.
Yeah.
Priory? Mm-hmm. All right. And it's in suburban Adelaide. Mm. And they needed a new statue, apparently. I don't know why. A statue of St. Martin de Porres.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, you know, he's
The namesake.
Yeah, exactly. So
you got to have a statue of that guy.
They ordered one designed by, I think, a local artist, if I'm remembering the story correctly.
Okay.
But then it was manufactured it was made in Vietnam and then sent over.
Okay.
Right? And so they
I do all of my art through Vietnam these days.
So
it's the way to go.
They have their little 2-dimensional drawings.
Sure.
Of what the thing's going to look like. Everybody's like, yeah, cool. It looks great. Awesome.
Approved.
They get the thing.
This is not going to be good. Whatever this is, this is not going to be okay.
St. Martin de Porres is standing there with sort of a blank, maybe pensive look on his face, but kind of just staring off, kind of downward, right? Head up, gaze downward. And he's holding something in his hand, and there's a child standing next to him.
Oh, dear.
Sort of cupping the object that's in his hand. That's the best way of describing.
Please tell me that this isn't at waist height.
Yeah, it's at waist height.
Oh, God.
His hand is basically kind of just fully down, right? And he's holding a loaf of bread.
Oh, okay.
But at first glance, what you're going to see is St. Martin de Porres with his Johnson out.
So it's basically crotch level.
Not a nicely shaped penis.
Oh.
I wouldn't want that coming at me.
No, you don't want bread-shaped penis. That's not... No. It's generally frowned on.
Anyway, so they have now... This kind of blew up online.
Somebody noticed something was maybe askew.
And so initially there was a black shroud over the statue.
They just covered it.
They just covered it. They didn't know what to do. And now they have built a fence with black cloth. It looks like the Kaaba, actually, all around it.
Oh.
Just blocking everybody's view of the statue. Statue's heavy. They don't know. Then they haven't decided what to do with the damn thing yet.
So what happened was nobody noticed
in the drawing
until the damned thing was secured in place.
And they had a great unveiling, probably.
Right.
And everybody just goes, oh.
Right. Or one person goes, you know what that looks like? And everybody else goes, oh, my God.
Why did you say that?
Don't tell me.
You have such a dirty mind.
Oh. And
what are you doing here?
And literally all of everybody's giggled inside.
Yeah. Anyway, Martin de Porres lived in Peru in the late 1500s, early 1600s. He was canonized back in 1962.
Okay.
And he is the patron saint of the mixed race, barbers, public health workers, and innkeepers.
And bread diddlers.
Yeah. It's really the expression on his face that sells the whole thing. Because he's just kind of like... He's like,
oh my God. Yeah, he looks like he's a
little conflicted, right?
The way he's holding this bread right at crotch level.
Yeah.
And there's a little kid who's got his hands under it.
Yeah.
And the little kid is looking up at him and oh my God. It's alarming.
You have to wonder what the people who made it in Vietnam were like, what are these people What are these perverts doing in Australia?
They didn't even think about it. They just built the damn thing.
Oh, I'm sure they noticed.
Maybe they did it on purpose.
How do you not notice? How do you not notice?
I mean, all of the workers who put it up, everybody didn't notice until somebody did.
I'm sure people were looking, making little glances at each other, like, are they serious? Did you see? And they probably went home. The workers probably went home in hysterics.
Oh my God!
Telling their significant others, oh my God, you can't believe this thing. And then it blew up online. And I mean, it was a big deal.
Apparently. Yeah, because it's the funniest, stupidest shit of all time. All right, I'm just gonna get political for a moment.
Oh no.
I don't know if you know this, but our president, Donald John Trump, he has made it a priority, or a priority of his administration to talk about human rights, religious freedom as a human right, as it pertains to human rights, which is code kind of. It's a dog whistle, obviously, for the religious right, because they love to talk about how much religious freedom, how important religious freedom is, and what they actually mean is the freedom for Christians to sort of impose themselves on everybody,
right? But that's what freedom of religion means.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that they could be showing their commitment to this priority is by there's a report that has to be produced by the State Department every year called the Countries of Particular Concern. These are countries that are of concern regarding religious freedom.
Okay.
Countries that are somehow infringing on the freedoms of religious people.
Oh, okay.
And the State Department is under obligation by U.S. laws passed by Congress to produce this report every year.
Right.
And they're late every single time.
Oh.
So the Congress decided to really force their hands. They're supposed to have the report by May or something. And this year, Congress passed a law that said that they had to have a report within 90 days of another report that came out that would just sort of delineate things. So there's another report that comes out that talks about what each country is doing, and then that's supposed to be compiled into a report that has the countries of particular concern. And they had 90 days to do it. That gave them until November something of this year. They were late again. They just aren't doing it.
Oh my God.
They keep failing to designate the CPCs, the countries of particular concern, like every year, and they're just not doing it.
Okay.
So that sends a lovely message around the world that we care a lot, that it's really important to these United States about how they treat the things. It just feels like there's a lot of talk and no action.
Right.
So, in this last April, the last one that was released, the last of these CPC reports that was released, they recommended 16 countries as countries of particular concern, including North Korea, China, and for the first time in the history of the report, Russia was on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they up to?
Well, I mean, you'll recall that they banned the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
We did talk about that. They've basically, according to this report, they quote effectively criminalized. Oh, sorry, they passed a new law that quote effectively criminalizing all private religious speech not sanctioned by the state.
Wow.
So they're cracking down.
Yeah.
And apparently they've been trying Muslims on fabricated charges of terrorism and extremism. So
wow, Russia.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Get it together.
Russia's our great ally now. They're the ones who call our shots these days, and they're not doing so good.
Yeah. Wow. Why would we be?
I don't know why we let them elect our presidents anymore. If they're going to act like that.
Oh golly, Dan.
So anyway, that's That's where the rubber just doesn't hit the road, apparently.
Yeah.
When they talk about, they talk a good line about how important freedom of religion is.
Right.
But they don't really care. What they
Can't
care
even get
about
the damn
is
report out.
they care about the talking about it.
Right. Right. Okay.
So there you go.
It's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Also something concerning, Dan.
Yes?
There's a new children's book out.
Oh, that is concerning.
The title of which is Judah Maccabee Goes to the Doctor. A story for Hanukkah.
Oh.
So that intrigued me on a certain level immediately. Sure. And I guess the follow-up to the whole thing is, well, the headline says, Judah Maccabee went to the doctor, then the anti-vaxxers got very mad.
Oh.
So when he goes to the doctor, he gets his shots.
He gets his shots.
And this is a whole story about, sounds like a really nice, cute little story. He's very nervous about getting a shot, but he learns to channel the bravery of his Maccabee namesake, right?
Okay.
Oh. The Maccabee Rebellion, blah, blah, blah,
sure.
right? Okay. And it was a big deal, and la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Anyway, so he gets his scary booster shot, super scary booster shot.
Yeah.
But this is important.
Those can hurt.
By getting his booster shot, and this is talked about in the book, he is protecting his little sister.
Oh,
who is too young to be vaccinated.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like putting vaccination into context and trying to explain how, like, one person's vaccination can help shield, another person, but also that the group is shielding that one person from...
well, and that's a great way to talk to kids. Like, to say, look, this isn't just for your health, but you're, like, helping someone else by doing this.
Right. Yeah.
You're a little damn hero.
Absolutely. And anyway, the book initially very well received.
Sure.
The publisher, of course, has it up on Amazon, where any old jerk can give it a star rating and leave a
review. You don't want to fuck with the anti-vaxxers when your star ratings at stake.
So overnight, this the author by the name of Ann Kofsky notices that her book goes from over 4 stars down to 1 star. They hit her fucking hard.
Oh my God.
Here's some of I pulled up the book on Amazon.
Sure.
Here are some of the comments that were left.
Okay.
Fake news. Okay. 1 star. Don't mix Hanukkah with vaccine propaganda. And about 5 exclamation points.
Oh, sure.
Beware of corporate propaganda. Isn't there a law against people that are not professionally qualified giving medical advice? Scary stuff here. Reeks of promoting a dangerous agenda.
Wow.
A dangerous agenda. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because if they checked in with the medical community, I'm sure the medical community would be really upset about
somebody writing a book
getting their vax
that helps explain vaccinations to young children.
Oh, man.
This vaccine propaganda targeting the Jewish community due to blah, blah, blah. This vaccine due to the prevalence of religious Jews abstaining from vaccines. Vaccines that contain fetus cells and animal cells are not kosher.
Oh, they're not kosher.
That's what this person's saying.
I wonder, now is there a specific Jewish connection to the anti-vax movement? Is there
there is actually. There's something bubbling in Judaism. It's apparently the Haredi. Is that a kind of Jew? There's something that's really really going strong amongst them. And then just sort of a general sort of bubbling, blah, blah, blah. But the rabbis in general, like the Orthodox rabbis, the Reform rabbis, everybody's coming out and saying, get your kids vaccinated.
Interesting.
Because, and halachically, a person is obligated to follow the doctor's opinion, especially in matters pertaining to vaccines and other forms of medicine which prevent illness and death. That was written by Rabbi Shalom Shushat, and he's he sounds like he's an important dude. And
yeah, I mean, these Jewish mothers didn't hound their children for decades to go to medical school just so that they could be ignored when it comes time for them to recommend vaccination.
Absolutely. Like, it's the best thing anyone can. Yeah. Anyway, but he also mentions that in the Torah, when someone does an action which can cause death or even refuses to do an action which can prevent death, he is compared to a murderer. And so they're putting vaccination, like anti-vaxxers, in this category, or at least he is, of, hey, you're not doing everything you can do to prevent the spread of these diseases and sicknesses.
Therefore, you're a murderer.
Therefore, well,
you're
if it leads
murderer.
to death, yes.
I think that I mean, it sounds to me like this book might have arisen as a reaction to something that's happening in the Jewish community.
Yeah, I believe the author actually mentions that in this article.
Well,
that she wanted to get out there and say something on the topic, and felt that it was important to put it in a Jewish context and all that kind of stuff.
Go vaccinate your kids, folks.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us across the pond to England. To the UK, actually. It's not confined to England. So, what's your impression, Frank, of the British people as a people, and their belief in science and their pragmatism? Do you have a sense of that? Do you feel like...
My sense is that, yes, they like science.
And that they're a pragmatic people?
Very pragmatic.
I would think so. That's my sense of it.
Highly pragmatic, in fact.
A Twitterer, a British person, apparently was watching as some workers were working on a water main.
Okay.
Somewhere in the UK. And she noticed that one of the workers, an official, municipal worker, suddenly got out dowsing rods and started walking around trying to use these divining rods to find where the water main was as he was working.
No.
And she was like, that can't be real. The world doesn't work like that. For those of you who don't know, dowsing or divining is a practice that was used sort of in the 1800s and before, to magically discover water, under the ground, and magically discover other things too.
Sure, but of course, really good for water.
And of course, as with all the really stupid ancient practices that we have long since abandoned, there's been a resurgence lately of dowsing and divining.
Of course,
and of course,
why wouldn't there be?
If you go on YouTube, you can find just dozens of videos proving that dowsing rods can work and stuff. And of course, and what's really funny is that this is one of those things that James Randi will give you $1 million if you can actually prove under decent laboratory conditions that it works.
Oh, right.
Nobody collects. Right. Nobody ever gets that million.
Right.
So anyway, this woman decided to tweet to a whole bunch of different local municipal water authorities,
right,
and just say, hey, do you guys do this?
Right.
10 out of 12 were like, yeah, we still do that.
What? What?
Doesn't
make any sense.
Severn Trent Water, we do have some, this is a tweet, we do have some techs that still have them in the van and use them if they need to. However, we prefer to use listening sticks and other methods. Listening sticks are actual, like sort of microphones that you put to the ground.
Oh, okay.
They can hear the water.
Oh, sure. That sounds reasonable.
That's technology. That's meaningful. That's a thing.
So where are they getting these dowsing sticks?
They're just,
or dowsing rods, or whatever they're called.
Fucking bend a clothes hanger. They're
like special,
I don't know, maybe
sticks that you find in the woods. right?
Well,
and you have to it's a special thing. It's almost like a magic wand. What
there frequently are is 2 rods, and I've seen this before, and they're sort of, there's a long end that's a 1.5 feet or a foot long, and then a little short end, and it bends 90 degrees.
Oh yeah, okay.
And you hold the short end in your hands, and you walk around. You hold one in each hand. You've got 2 rods, and as you walk over water, they swing together and cross. Oh, and they just know how to do that. And of course, there's all this science that talks about how tiny little movements in your own hands will make that happen, and you may not even be aware that you're doing it, because it's there's a psychological thing about your hands will just sort of do these tiny movements without. It's the same thing that operates when people are convinced that a Ouija board is actually happening.
Oh yeah,
it's just them actually doing it, but not feeling like they're doing it, sort of thing. But but it definitely does not work. It's 100% debunked. But here's another one. Yorkshire Water says, although few and far between, some of our techs still use them, but they are only used to detect pipework and voids that may be caused by bursts or collapses.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Well, if they're only used for that, then the bullshit's fine.
Wow.
Yes. So she tweeted somebody at Anglian Water, who said, "Hi, Sally. As far as I'm aware, divination isn't used, but there have been occasions where we've used dowsing rods, but mainly we use our listening sticks." Great. It's crazy. 10 out of 12 of these companies that she tweeted at
Unbelievable.
Believed in magic.
That's great.
Isn't that amazing?
I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
If you don't know the mechanism of how something works,
right?
Why do you think it works?
Because it does.
Because it does.
Yeah.
I mean, what's really funny is that the guy that she talked to told her basically what they were using it to do was figure out how much of the street they needed to close off.
Okay.
So, it's do you close off 20 feet of the street or do you close off 70 feet of the street? And so you just close off more. Or
this is their best way to find their water mains and whatnot.
I know. It's insane. You don't even have a map of your own water mains. You don't know where.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
That they don't have and even if you have a map, that doesn't mean you're going to be exactly precise.
Sure.
Where they were laid, but wow. Anyway,
that's crazy.
That's really, really remarkable.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you know of magic things that you believe for sure work, you can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
That's right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join. It's a closed group that keeps the conversation decent and private.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Yes, sir.
So these are strange times that we live in. I think we can all agree.
All the times are strange.
And we've got that, just that peach, Roy Moore.
Oh, isn't he?
He's just such a charmer.
A stand-up fella.
Running for Senate down in Alabama. And the evangelicals are, who, of course, they're so fucking aligned with the Republicans, and you must get a Republican, period.
Yeah.
They are doing some interesting mental gymnastics. Ethical gymnastics.
Yeah. To try and justify voting for a child molester.
Indeed. So here's one on here's one saying his little piece.
Okay.
Paul writes in Ephesians 6 that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers of this dark age. And there is a spiritual battle here. Can you speak to the spiritual element of this and then maybe lead our audience in a word of prayer?
Absolutely. Well, clearly, in this This is so critical, chaps, that we are here right now. I know there's a lot of Christians who are waffling, who are trying to play it safe, and I am telling you, this is not the time to play it safe. There is a spirit of the age, and it has set its sights on Chief Justice Roy Moore to take him on and take him out, because he represents a danger to the status quo that has been running this nation into the ground. And yes, part of this is demonic. We are dealing with lies. We are dealing with fraud. We're dealing with the accusation against the brethren. And Christians, this is not time to protect your little political hides and your so-called reputations. Jesus made himself no reputation. He laid it down to save us. And we have to lay down our reputations to save others. And so it's very, very important that we understand this truth. This is a time for courage. And if we have to bear the reproach, if we have to bear the shame to do what is right before God, so be it.
So elect that pervert.
Yeah, and
Because it's God's will.
If somebody yells at you and says, you should be ashamed of yourself for voting for a child molester, you must bear that shame. You must bear that whatever you said.
It's what God wants.
Yeah. Well, there's a spirit of the age. It's a demonic spirit.
It's a real test of their faith, Dan.
Oh, my God. It's a test of something. I mean, they're being tested, and if they're voting for Roy Moore, they are not doing well on that test.
No, they are not.
Oh, my God.
This is it's brutal.
It is
like when you think about what these people are willing to do, right?
Yeah. How are you okay with this? On what planet could you possibly be okay with this?
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah. Anyway. All right.
Oh, Roy Moore. Okay. Well, I am going. They say less is more, but I say more is less. See what I did there? Anyway.
Oh.
Someone jumped in my head, and I was like, "Oh, you're not going to leave until I say it to my audience, are you?" Stupid little joke. We had some folks write into us. I figure we should respond to them. Willow wrote in and said, I listened to you on Sunday morning and to laugh and enjoy myself. I think the timing is appropriate too. Well, yes, I think so. Sister Willow. When you shared your stories of escaping from religion in episode 303, I thought I'd share the story of how I got kicked out of Vacation Bible School. I had a big advantage. I was not brainwashed by Christianity as most young children in the belly of the beast are. My father gave me time to learn and think for myself. At the age of 9, I was sent to visit relatives in Georgia during school vacation. My relatives sent me to Vacation Bible School, which, by the way, that doesn't seem okay to send. I mean, maybe they had the parents' permission or whatever, but it doesn't seem okay to just send the kid that's staying with you to Vacation Bible School.
That's what you do.
I guess so. Big mistake, says Willow. The preacher said something that didn't make sense. Surprise, surprise. So I asked about it. As you can imagine, his answer didn't make sense either. My bullshit alarm went off even though I was only 9, so I told him loudly that it doesn't make sense. So all the other kids heard. 9-year-olds are not very PC. After I got back to my relative's house, they got a call saying, "Don't send her again."
Oh, well done.
So I never had to recover from religion, she says. Yes. Oh, if only the rest of us had had such wisdom to be kicked out and asked never to return to our religious education.
It's easier when probably works a little bit better when it's not your parents.
Yeah, indeed.
Who are like the psycho crazies.
Yeah, when you're literally surrounded by when every adult in your life would be furious with you for doing that. It's a different story.
It is a different story.
Anyway, we also had Kirk write into us. I enjoyed your last episode. Remember we talked about the men and their bad behaviors.
Oh yeah, indeed.
and such. Personally, I think it's hilarious that we're going round and round about Al Franken and Louis C.K. and Roy Moore and Charlie Rose and all these guys when the president of the freaking United States of America has admitted to behavior as bad as Roy Moore's and probably worse than Al Franken's. Yeah. But somehow we're not discussing Trump's behavior at all, nor is he. It's the proverbial elephant in the room, and we Americans loves us some pet elephants. Or trophy elephants that we bring back from Africa.
Yeah.
According that will be legal again thanks to our
thank God
fine president.
Oh, I've had a trophy elephant just hanging out,
just waiting there for you.
Yeah, and I've been waiting to get it into the country, and thank God
can't bring it
I
in.
can do it now.
Yeah, he'll look good in your living room. In that
he'll be the only thing in my living room.
In that 1-bedroom condo of yours. It seems we have accepted that there are enough people in the Congress, the Republican heartland, and the corporate oligarchy who will support Trump, regardless of his lack of character and vulgar behavior, that there is no point in even discussing his transgressions. They are off the table. Other offenders are being fired from jobs and having their careers pulled out from under them. But Trump is immune, I guess, because the court of public opinion, via the 2016 election, found him not guilty, or at least not guilty enough. That's cute. Otherwise, deplorable behavior can be excused, it seems, if the offender is acceptable to a power base that is, for the time being, unassailable or simply too much trouble to assail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Trump thing
is amazing. This morning I saw that he tweeted trying to do his little denial, just lie about it, that somehow seems to get him out of things. And he said that somebody needs to look into the Access Hollywood tapes because they are clearly faked.
Right. Because we don't have video of him actually making. What's amazing is that, like,
CGI,
a whole bunch of it,
special
they're
effects
on the bus and you're just hearing the audio.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe that could be faked, but then they get off the bus and they're off the bus for the part where he says grab him by the pussy.
Yeah.
So, like, the best part of it,
right?
They're fully on camera talking.
Right. But his lie, I mean, this technique is. It's fucking amazing.
It's really weird. And of course,
it works.
He copped to it. He's already copped to it. He, like, the second it came out, he said it was, he apologized for it. And now he's saying, no, that wasn't me. It's amazing.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. So, I mean, I also think that,
yes, this needs to be brought up. This is what we need to be shouting about.
Yeah. Right, but I also think that, there's just something about, like, the timing. His thing probably set up this whole Weinstein, like
probably
there's something about it that, like, it was sort of processing in the American public's mind.
Yeah.
And that's what made it sort of start to hit with all these other things. So maybe it'll come to something someday. I don't know.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I think that we need to. I mean, we probably shouldn't mention his name without mentioning the pussy grabbing.
We should just say perpetual sexual harasser President Donald Trump.
Yeah, something along those lines. But it's something that maybe flows a little bit
better
easily.
Than that. Sure, that one didn't come out too easy. That one I was working on,
but I'm sure we can craft something.
We can figure something out. Sure. Oh, okay. Hey, do we have anybody to thank?
We do. We actually have a bunch of people to thank, which is pretty awesome. We have 5 new faithful members.
Oh.
Or faithful listeners.
Okay.
These are people who are, giving at the $1 level.
Okay.
Right. Willow, Genevieve, Jeffrey, Tim, and Elliot. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
It helps out so much. We really do appreciate it. And if you would like to join them, you can do so by going to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and clicking on the support tab. And we're working toward a goal,
A Patreon goal.
right now. This was a big help. This has to have added, a couple points to the whole thing.
This bumps us up. We're getting ever closer.
We're over 70% at this point. So if you guys could go and help us out, it'd be really amazing.
It would be amazing. And here's the other thing. You can do it in someone else's name for their Christmas present.
Oh, wouldn't that be a thing?
What if you did that?
Whoa.
Huh? What if you, what if you start a donation in your friend's name, and that would be a great Christmas present, and then we get help, and you seem like a hero, and everybody's happy. Try that. But
and
there's one other person we need to thank.
There is our Lord and Savior,
The holiest
our
of
top
holies.
donor, Angela.
I do love that her name means angel. There's just something beautiful about that. So we bless you all in the name of Angela, and amen.
Okay, Dan. It's time for us to have a chat, Dan.
Yeah.
We need to have a talk, Dan.
Well, something interesting happened when we were prepping for this show, and we realized that we had both found different stories that were sort of about very similar things.
Yeah. Mine is an update to a story that I remember reading about. Maybe we talked about it on the show even. About a West Virginia public school district that teaches this Bible class, a half-hour Bible class to elementary students once a week and 45-minute to middle school once a week, middle school students. There's an opt-out option.
Okay.
So if a kid doesn't want to go to Bible class, they can sit in the library and read a book.
It's an opt-out. It's not even an opt-in.
No, it's an opt-out.
Oh, my God.
Because, again, they don't have an activity for the kids that don't want to do it or whose parents say no. Go to the library and read a book.
Jesus Christ.
And so there was a lawsuit filed by the FFRF, the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Right.
They were suing the school district on behalf of a couple people who lived there. And, anyway, the thing got tossed out because the school district has changed their policy and they're not going to be doing it anymore.
Oh, okay.
And so there's really no reason for it. Both sides are claiming victory.
How do you claim victory when your thing is not happening anymore?
Because the court rightly rejected the notion that teaching students about the Bible is always unconstitutional. I don't know how he's right, but
and that's because in many classrooms they'll teach sort of Bible. They'll try to sneak it in as like Bible as history or Bible as a sort of as a religious studies thing.
Yes, and this has sort of been mildly accepted at the high school level,
right? Because
they're able to talk about it in a better context,
sure.
Right? And the kids themselves have a better ability to be able to distinguish between religion and history, or religion and literature. You know what I mean? Like they're able to understand what it is better,
right,
and come into the room with their own ideas already kind of in place.
Right.
So it's a different story. I still don't love that idea, and they probably should just steer clear of it. But whatever, right?
But whatever. As a sociological study or as a historical study, religion isn't interesting.
You can bring it up. There's a context in which to bring it up.
Sure.
And some of those are actually probably just fine.
Yeah.
However, elementary school, middle school, these kids aren't ready for that kind of discussion.
No.
And they're teaching religion in the schools. That's what they're doing.
Right. And that's the thing. So my story that I found is about Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that the Pennsylvania law has carved out a thing for what they call released time. Now, released time means that, for instance, at 2:00, all of the kids, and in some cases, all of the kids, leave school and go to church.
What?
and they get their church teachings every day.
Every day?
Yeah, I think it's daily.
Oh my God.
It's a legal way for students to quote to voluntarily receive religious education.
Wow.
No, it's not every day. It's limited to 36 hours per school year, I guess.
Okay.
But still, like, this is basically time that is meant to be school time.
Right.
That they just can carve out. And this is elementary school kids.
Oh, dear
that they're
God.
doing this for.
Oh, no.
And up. And as I said, in some cases, the participation has been as much as 100% with the kids.
Right.
Now that probably has to do with their parents and how they're, what that community makeup looks like. But it's a little alarming, in part because, and they know this full well, when all the other kids are doing X, if your atheist kid isn't, they're going to feel left out, and they're going to be ostracized, and they're going to feel different.
Right.
And they're going to want to participate just so that they feel like they're part of the group.
Right.
And that's truly, like, that's part of what they're doing here is they're trying to get them. They're trying to, we'll just send them along. They don't have to believe. They can just come and learn, and it'll be fine, and they'll enjoy it, and the kids sure love it. It's so much fun, and blah, blah, blah. And that's what they do.
Right.
Now, you and I both participated in things. Now, what you participated in was something very different than what I participated in, which is a high school level thing that Mormons do.
Right.
That we call seminary.
Yeah. And mine, because I didn't live in Utah, was early morning before school.
Before school, which is that's just torture.
It is torture, but in most cases, the kids all go to the nearest chapel, LDS chapel. Right?
You didn't have it at a member's house? I've heard of it happening at a member's house.
We would in my town, because we were far away from the LDS chapel.
Oh, okay.
But there were a few kids who went to that high school. We did have it at a member's house. But most of the time, that's not what's going on. You go to the nearest chapel, and there's, you go into the Relief Society room, and your teacher, teaches blah blah blah, and that's every single morning before school.
Right.
And it is torture. It's really just quite awful. But here in Utah, what they do is fascinating.
It's special
because they have this same concept, this release time.
Right. So when I went to seminary, it was just one of my class periods.
Right.
In high school.
Right.
And the building itself technically isn't on school grounds.
But
it is on school grounds. They've just carved off a chunk of the school grounds and sold it to the LDS church.
Exactly.
And then they built this building onto it. So I just walked across a patch of grass.
Right.
The same, like,
as you would to
go to the field house for gym.
To go to the mobile classrooms.
Right.
Literally. Or to go to gym. Like the same. It's just as easy.
Yeah, I walked less. I walked less from the main building to go to seminary than I did to go to my shop class.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, it's all part of the same campus. Right. Nothing feels any different. And I would just go and learn about Joseph Smith and Jesus.
Right.
And and that was just one of my class periods. Every year I could just carve out, and of course I would skip it a heck of a lot. One semester, and this baffles me. What was I think I was trying to just be a good Mormon. Like, I was trying to prove to me and to Jesus that I was better than I really was, or just trying to really sacrifice for my belief or whatever. Okay. But I chose early morning seminary one semester.
Oh my!
When I didn't have to.
Well, that seems like the thing that the studious kid might do.
Yeah,
because you are not taking a class in school,
right? Some
elective that you could otherwise be taking,
which is what it mostly was. Like, all of the early morning seminarians were the kids who wanted, they want to go to a great, Ivy League school, and they just need to have a transcript that reflects that.
Right.
I was not that kid.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck I was doing. And I went for early morning. I don't know. I hated mornings. What was I doing?
Self-flagellation, Dan.
It really was.
Yeah.
I was literally, I might as well have gotten a hair shirt and one of those like, I'm like the albino in Dan Brown. I was.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
But
God.
I just think, anyone who looks at this country of ours and says this is, and says that the Christians are being persecuted.
Right.
What they're doing is looking at people who are suing because public money and things that are public programs are bending over backwards to kowtow to Christianity.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's there's something really wrong about it, and the arrangement that the Mormons have here in Utah is particularly insidious. The fact that all the school districts participate in carving out a section of their property.
Yeah.
Because it is. You look at the plot of land, and it's a corner that is carved out, typically, right?
Yeah,
where the seminary building. Sometimes it's across the street.
It's across the street or something, but
whatever. But like in the case of West High, it's right there on the corner. And I've seen that a number of times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's literally like the state gleefully sells a chunk of the land that they own for this school to the LDS church.
Yeah. And that's quite the arrangement that they have. We were actually joking about how we need to have like some kind of Satan down the street.
Yeah.
Where the Satan during school.
Yeah, they have after school Satan. But we should be having during school Satan.
Release time Satan.
Release time Satan. We should totally have that. I mean, I don't know who's a member of the Satanic Temple in Pennsylvania. I'm sure we've got some listener that's a member.
Sure. But I mean,
we could do it here.
Right here.
I'm just saying they can do it there.
They can do it there.
But
we can do it here.
We should get somebody from the TST to demand to be sold a parcel of land.
Yeah.
For from the school.
Same deal.
To plop down a double wide or whatever so that they can have during school Satan class.
Something cooler than a double wide though, Dan.
Okay.
I don't know what that would be.
A container.
It should be just a creepy van.
A creepy van. I like an RV that's just kind of with the windows like covered in tin foil.
Yeah.
Yes, creepy
Get the
van.
kids out there and teach them all about being good and ethics. And,
yeah, exactly. Teach them actual morals and ethics and stuff, and then but like have satanic imagery and
Surely you could set up something where you lease a corner of a parking lot for a very legitimate, RV setup to come in that's set up like a little classroom inside or an old converted school bus.
Yeah.
To just,
and just drive it from high school to high school.
Yeah.
So that every period, for fourth period at West High and third period at East High and whatever, they can all just come out and do their during school, their release time Satan.
Release time Satan.
Oh,
that would be great.
That would be fantastic.
That.
Here's the thing. This program, this seminary, LDS seminary program is a complete non-issue here in Utah.
Right.
Nobody balks at it.
No. It is so normal.
It is the normalest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that for a lot of these programs, the same is true. I mean, unlike the LDS Church, most of these other programs are all on a volunteer basis. All of the people that are teaching these children,
correct,
are like old people that are retired and they've got some time on their hands, so they go and they hang out with the kids.
No, but the seminary teachers who are teaching at one of these actual on-campus seminaries, they're paid. They're on church payroll.
They are.
Yeah,
that's
their job.
Not the ones that you dealt with.
No, the early morning folk were all volunteer. That was a calling.
Yeah, you get outside of Utah, and that's the other thing is that in Mormonism, they can basically force you to do it.
Yeah,
like you may have no interest in being a seminary teacher, but
I guarantee you, the woman teaching our seminary class was not stoked.
No.
I mean, she did it. She was not happy about it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, here's hoping that someone sends us an email about trying to get some release time Satan set up.
Well, if nothing else, it's a good joke.
It's just a lot of fun.
It's just funny.
A lot of good fun.
All
well,
right, Dan.
if you have any examples that we don't know about of religion in the schools, send it to us. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
That's right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join. It is a closed group, but that's what makes it great.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if you want to be one of our patrons, you can do so by going to the thankgodimatheist.com and clicking the patronage button, the support tab, and you can do that. Or if you can't afford that, go to your whatever pod blaster you find us on and give us a 5-star rating. That's always nice.
That is. And of course, we need to get some thanks out there into the world.
We do.
Thank you to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music, and to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
That's right. Thanks to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page, and to Sarah, Amy, and Danny for being moderators on the Members Only Lounge.
Indeed. And thank you, our dearest listener,
you guys,
for listening.
We sure do appreciate it.
Bye.